All right, y'all. Today we are watching I Don't Care Where I Work At Anymore. And this is by Amiri X Games. I'll show it to you guys right there just so y'all can see it. Um, it seems to be a good video. Got 145,000 views. And he's basically talking about how careers are dead at this point in time. Like, no one cares about careers anymore for the most part, right? And let's just see what he's talking about. Let's get into the vid, man.
Do you guys remember as a kid when people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then as kids, you say something completely random, like saying some shit like, oh, I
Like a firefighter or some shit, boy. He wants to be. I used to want to be a firefighter. You feel me? Firefighter was a good one. Like a firefighter would still be like a good career to this day. I might turn around and be a firefighter. You might catch me a couple of years and nigga fighting fire and shit. You feel me?
want to be an NBA player. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a lawyer.
I
Just
want to
like
be a
all these
teacher. It's
random
crazy.
things. But, as we get older, we sooner realize that a lot of these people who pick these like type of jobs and everything, you realize that a lot of these people do not pick their professions. Now, this doesn't apply to every single person, obviously, but there's a lot of people in this life that's just trying to survive and everything in this terrible economy of the world, right?
No
But
cap.
in my last 9 years of being in the adult world, I just kind of realized is that I don't really care what I do as a career anymore, if that makes sense. And I feel like careers in general are slowly dying due to everything that's been going on. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that careers are full on dead, but they're basically about done in terms of like the entry level position, and just for a lot of people in general. Because yes, you can make any job a career, but it just feels like that a lot of people nowadays are just not making any like type of career anymore, and they're just all just doing jobs, and there's a reason why for that.
It makes a lot of sense because, back in the day, people would work at, a construction or, a, what are they called? Like when you work in like a warehouse and stuff, like they would work those jobs for like 30, 40 years and retire there. Now it's like nobody's really doing that. People are just jumping from job to job, which is actually crazy. But I did hear recently that there's going to be a lot more um, manufacturing going on in the US. And if that does happen, maybe, careers might come back if they're paying good and, people are doing jobs that they enjoy somewhat. A job is always a job. Unless you enjoy it. If you enjoy it enough, it becomes, more fun than job. But for the most part, it's usually just job. But yeah, a lot of people are getting kind of jumping from job to job rather than following a career unless like you're a doctor or a lawyer or shit like that. But for the majority of us, that's not us.
Now, the most obvious reason is that more people are starting their own businesses and everything, where a lot of people are saving their money and everything. They're budgeting their finances and starting their own business because they rather take the risk and take the leap and try to have a successful business with more money potentially than just working at a job nowadays that just does not pay enough for a lot of people. Even the most higher up type jobs with like paying 100K and everything a year, a lot of those are taken away from taxes. And the reality of a lot of it is that most of those people are actually making only 60K a year after taxes. And it's kind of a tough pill to swallow too, because the more you work or the more you earn, the more they take out. Now, you can't really escape this system either, because if you do have your own business and everything, as long as you have a social security number and everything, the government will definitely want you to pay taxes through 1099 as a.
No cap. Pay your taxes, gang. Pay your taxes. I know far too many motherfuckers that made so much bread, having their own business or whatever it may be, and they did not pay taxes. Now them niggas owe hella fucking money to the government. You don't want that in your life. You feel me? Uncle Sam start knocking at that door, there's going to be issues. But speaking of small business, y'all go buy my dolls, bagboytoys.com, or go to the Instagram at bagboytoys on Instagram. Yeah, go cop one. I just dropped the site yesterday. So, go get yourself one. You feel me? But anyway, let's continue.
Self-employed contract worker. But at the end of the day, man, you do make more money doing that than you probably would as a W-2 employer. Now, I will never forget that feeling as a kid where schools cared so much about what you want to do as a career, what you want to do to work for somebody else and everything.
Bro, I never knew what I wanted to do. They would ask me that shit, and I'll be like, bro, I don't fucking know, bro. Always wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor my whole life, for the most part. But yeah, bro, they used to say that shit like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm like, nigga, I don't know. I don't want to do none of this shit that y'all talking about. I can tell you that much.
And I'll never forget that unreliable stress of what if I'm a failure because I do not want to get where I want to work at? What if I don't fucking succeed what I want to do because there's things I wanted to do that didn't involve working for somebody else, you know? And this was more like middle school and everything because I remember seeing like bands and artists also get really successful at a young age of like 20, and I felt like that, man, I was only 13. I felt like I was running out of time to figure out exactly what I want to do as a career. But the sad part was I was just only getting started. I'll never forget where I was determining my happiness to where I was working at, and and define who I was just because of the job place too. But then I realized that when it comes to the job place and everything is your happiness is not determined by where you work at. Your happiness is determined by you. We just happen to work at a place just to provide us money at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, guys, a lot of us are replaceable. Even at the jobs we are actually, passionate about and also, want to be successful in. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow because a lot of corporations and a lot of businesses, for the most part, will just look at you as a number. And it's a really heartbreaking thing, man. And that's when I finally realized after working so many different types of jobs and everything that it doesn't even matter about where I work at anymore for me, because at the end of the day, we could still be happy without relying on a fucking job to determine our happiness, man, or status, because a lot of things in society is very status driven, and I absolutely just do not like that. And it does make you wonder is why is there so many people with a lot more money than they were as kids, so much less happier than they were as children? And I think the answer is pretty simple. A lot of us want financial freedom, or the freedom to kind of do whatever and whenever, man, because we are not really made on this earth to just be a fucking, corporate, worker all the time. I think that if a lot of people found a way to get more financial freedom, like, make like not even like a lot of money, like 40,000 a year, and still be able to do whatever the hell they want and pay their bills, I think a lot more people would be a lot more satisfied. And I definitely kind of understand that now.
People want too much right now. Like, people want everything. People want everything, and wanting everything is not the answer. That's how you always lose. Like, me personally, my expenses are on the ground, gang. My expenses right now are on the ground. So I'm just living life because I don't have that many expenses. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that I value. I value, not needing to bend over backwards to, survive at the end of the day. Because that's the last thing a nigga want. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do the absolute most just to make it by. That shit is ass, bro. A lot of people need to focus less on how much money they're making and focus more on how much money they're spending. And a lot of people don't do that. And even me, I don't even do that. But I keep my shit so damn low that I don't need to do that. You feel me? So, hey, man, if there's anything you take from this video, besides if he gonna drop some gems on y'all, but take that, worry less about how much money you're making and more about how much money you're spending. And then your life would get so much easier. And especially if you keep your expenses low and then you start to make more money, now it's like you live in a surplus rather than just keeping your head above water or always drowning. You feel me? But let's continue the video.
And even look at other content creators, like for the greatest example, dude, Wyler. The dude literally quit his 100K job a year just to pursue YouTube and saved his money to death so he could pursue it. And I think he's a lot happier doing something that gives him a lot more financial freedom despite not making as much money and just being able just to kind of, just explore the world and see other things. It's really kind of cool. I'm also very grateful. I've got to job hop a lot in my life too to kind of learn different types of jobs and see how other things work, man, because I've seen other people who stay at the same job for so long that they kind of get tunnel vision. They kind of forget who they are as a person because they let some company take over their personality, and I think that's not cool either. That's also kind of terrifying to really if you really think about it. Unless you're like a professional sports athlete or something, that a lot of these careers anyways are not even worth it, and a lot of people are still broke as shit.
Bro, I just realized bro is playing a video game this whole time. Is this even his game? Did he even play this? Did he record this himself? Or did he just pull this off the internet, man? What the fucky? Am I brain rotted? Is this like one of those TikToks where they have the game playing at the bottom and then the video playing at the top? Is this what that is? Am I cooked? Are we cooked? Because you've been watching it too. You've been watching it too. You know what I'm saying? You've been watching it and then just having a little dude in the corner pop out and say some shit a couple of times. So we're both brain rotted if that's the case. You feel me? But yeah, let's continue. Anyway.
Shit after retiring or even before retiring. And hell, there's even some people that are even trying to come out of retirement because they didn't make enough their whole careers, and that is also scary too. I will say realistically, the only job you
bro, I can't imagine being 50 years old, 60 years old. You know, no plan put in place and you don't got nothing. You feel me? That shit's terrifying. That shit is scary as fuck. That's why you gotta have kids. We're gonna be a generation of really fucked up motherfuckers if y'all motherfuckers don't start shooting out some kids. You feel me? Because if you don't got no kids, there ain't really nobody that's gonna take care of you. You 60 years old, you can't really work no more too much. You know what I'm saying? You gonna live it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So that's one thing that like have some damn kids, bro. And that's one thing about me. I want to have probably like two, maybe 3 kids. You feel me? Cause you wanna continue your legacy. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, when you get all wrinkly and old, you got some motherfuckers to take care of your ass. You know what I'm saying? And maybe, who knows? Maybe you'll hit the lottery and your son will make it to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you'll hit the anti-lottery and your daughter will start an OnlyFans and make $1 million a year or a month. That's the anti-lottery. That's the worst best case scenario, gang. Yo, son makes it to the NBA. Best case scenario. Boom. Damn, we did it. NFL. Boom. Yes, he's an actor. Yes. He a millionaire. Yes. Your daughter, she a millionaire. She an actor. Whatever it may be, she a model. Yes. She started OnlyFans. Yes. Not started OnlyFans. She making millions off OnlyFans. That's an anti-lottery, bro. Cause you not too like she making mills. So you mad, but you can't be that mad, gang. You know what I mean? Anyway, this shit just took a crazy turn. Let's continue.
Really could make a decent amount of money in a potential career nowadays. That's not like a unrealistic goal. Like being a professional sports athlete is being a trades worker, man, because there's a lot of different types of trades and everything that will pay you very decently. But the problem is that a lot of people are having a hard time getting in these jobs as well, because it's not about what you know, unfortunately. It's about who you know. And sometimes you got to have connections to get in these type of jobs, and that makes it really hard. But it is worth it if you can find someone that can get you in. Unfortunately, too, that it'll take you a while to start making really good money in these trades, too. Like, it'll take a good couple of years, and they'll also pay for your school. And the weird part is, too, though, is that you have to commit to them for a very long time, for a certain amount of years, or, you might have to pay for everything, and you don't want that, So you have to be very careful when picking this decision as a career. But once I realized I let that stigma go about letting a career define my success, I realized that I was actually a bit happier, like, just doing whatever I wanted to do. Because at the end of the day, man, like there's a lot of things in life that are a lot more valuable than money, and money is definitely important, but as long as you make enough to pay the bills, man, that's all what really matters. I've also learned how to fully control my life when it comes to anything happening to me in case something does not work out, because I'm always one step ahead, man. And I realize that now I don't really feel anxious or scared about anything anymore. And just to let you guys know that it is okay to, if you have a job that just pays the bills while you pursue your hobbies on the side as well, because there's a lot of professions where there's a lot of people who are into some really fun jobs, and especially for like nail cosmetology type stuff. But then they realize they're still not making enough to where they need to get to be. So a lot of them unfortunately will have to quit to kind of pursue something on the side, because that's what my sister did, man. She definitely is about to quit her job at nails because she loves doing nails and everything, but she's getting burnt out and not getting paid a whole lot of money, and she kind of feels a little bamboozled, and she's starting to lose the passion for the job, so she's starting to keep doing nails on the side. And that's what kind of made me realize too that, yeah, I'm kind of glad I did not like try to pursue something and make a hobby my job, because there's a lot of people who try to make their hobbies a job and it just simply does not work all the time. If you can somehow balance between having a passion and a hobby and making good money while you do it, take advantage of that, because it doesn't come very often, and don't let that opportunity slip away. Anyways, everybody, thank you all so much for listening. And what are your guys' thoughts about, not caring about where you work at anymore? What made you?
Yeah, man, this is a really good video. Like I told y'all, this is by, let me tell you his name again, AmeriX Games. It's a really good video by him. If y'all like the video, y'all go rock with him. A whole lot of video game playing in the background, but I'm brain rotted enough to actually enjoy it. I'm brain rotted enough to actually like the shit. You feel me? So, this is a really good vid. I feel like he dropped a couple of gems in here. It was a great kind of, it felt like a thought, like a thought process. Like he got to let all his thoughts out about the topic. And, I feel like he has a good stand on everything. But anyway, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Is there anything that he said that doesn't make sense? Or is he completely wrong? I don't know. But like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that other shit. Go to bagboytoys.com if you want to get yourself one of these guys right here. And I love you guys. Peace.